So from 2021 to today, that's about almost 4 years that I've started flipping houses. In that time frame, I've bought and sold 10 different properties here in Hawaii. I've actually bought $7,207,500 of real estate homes and sold it for $10 million, $339,500, making that a combined volume of $17,547,000 of Hawaii real estate. If you're new to this channel and you don't know who I am, my name is Jeremy Mateo and I am a Hawaii real estate broker and investor, and I own multiple businesses, and one of them is being my own real estate brokerage. I've been in real estate for a decade now, and I've helped countless clients, including myself, buy and sell real estate on the island of Oahu. I've been flipping houses now for 4 years and I flipped 10 properties, so I've got somewhat kind of a good amount of experience so far. I've won big on almost all of these properties, and I've also lost big on a couple of them. In this video, I want to share with you 10 valuable lessons that I've learned through all of this. So that if you're watching this and you want to get into real estate flipping or investing, I hope that you can learn from these lessons and make a lot of money, and you won't have to go through the pain and suffering that I went through. All right, so 10 lessons, here we go. Starting with the first lesson is partner up. At first I was gonna call this lesson never do things alone, but when I think about it, there are some cases and some opportunities where I think it is okay to do a project alone. But when you're new to flipping houses, you absolutely do not wanna do things alone. If you're new to the game, it would be extremely wise for you to find 1 to 2 other friends and partner up so that you guys can take on this project together. That's what I did for my very first flip. I needed about $120,000 for the down payment, and that was something I did not have. So I got with 2 of my close buddies who I knew and trusted and who were also down to invest and make money. By doing that, I was 1, not able to actually do the deal, but 2, I was actually able to make $72,000 of profit together with my friends, leaving me with my cut of $24,000 in profit. This was a great experience, and by partnering with people, you also share the risk, but you also share the reward. If you are totally new, I would suggest partnering up with someone who has experience flipping houses before. You don't want to really partner with someone else that is new. That's just my advice. This way you minimize a lot of risk. You actually get to learn how to flip houses the right way. And at the same time, you also get a mentor that can teach you how to flip houses. Now, I will say there are some circumstances where I think, flipping a house alone is okay. An example of this would be my 2 most recent flips that I just sold. Recently, I was preaching, never do things alone, always partner up. But I think that's just for your average normal house flip where there is a big construction rehab and there needs to be some type of project management, and you basically need to make sure that everything is going according to plan. Those are your normal house flips. With my 2 recent flips, these both rehabs were like $5,000 to $7,000, and that's it. It was literally like fixing some little things here and there and just getting new appliances. Guys, I'm not that smart. I will say I'm actually pretty dumb. But I think I can still manage a $7,000 rehab, So that is why I decided to do those flips alone. And even more so, I didn't even do it completely alone. Like, I had Wendell, my assistant, he was helping me and assisting me with the project as well. So if you are experienced and you can handle multiple deals with multiple rehabs, then go ahead and do it alone. For me, I am not comfortable with that. So that is why I say partner up. All right, lesson 2 is understand market environment. What I mean by that is understand how the current real estate market environment is behaving. To know this, you need to know and get a good understanding of where interest rates are. Is it a buyer's market or is it a seller's market? If you don't know what I'm talking about, then you definitely should not be flipping houses right now. The reason why I say this is because on my second flip, this was the first flip that I did alone, I actually made about $120,000 in profit. And what's cool is that the project only took me less than like 60 days from purchase to sale. Now, I will say after this, I thought I was a genius. You know, I thought I could flip anything and make money. Like I thought I was the and that nothing could stop me. But what had really happened was that this was 2021, where interest rates were at rock bottom. Everyone was buying, you know, and it was a total seller's market. And I, in fact, was not a genius. So unfortunately, with this big win, it led to me thinking that I should buy and flip anything and every deal that I could find because I thought I was a genius and everything I touched turned to profit. Wrong. This actually led to me taking on 4 big projects at one time, and that eventually led to me losing big money because the interest rates spiked up, the buyer frenzy was gone, and it was no longer a seller's market. So remember guys, you are not a genius, it is just a great seller's market. All right, lesson number 3 is get everything in writing. Whew, this lesson, man, I learned this the hard way. When you're doing deals, get everything in writing.
Okay, everything's here in writing.
There's no such thing as a handshake deal, like whether, you know, you're dealing with sellers or buyers, and especially partnerships. Get it all in writing. When you're doing a partnership with flipping houses, you know, you're flipping houses with other people, everything is amazing and dandy when everyone's making money and it's the good times. But what happens when you are losing money and it's the bad times? It is not fun. And unfortunately, people show their true colors when it comes to money. On one of my deals, I had a partnership with a clown. This guy brought me a deal and convinced me it was a good deal, and so we partnered together. Nothing was in writing, it was just a handshake deal because I thought this guy was my friend, and unfortunately it was not a good deal, and when it came down to closing, we lost $150,000. Or should I say, I lost $150,000. And I'm not talking about losing $150,000 in potential profit, I'm talking about me selling the house and having to write a check for $150,000 in order to close. This pisses me off every time I talk about it, but whatever, you know. When we realized that the flip was going to lose money, this guy stopped paying his share of the interest payments. He ghosted me and he wouldn't come up with his share of the $75,000 to split with me for the loss. I was so confused because I asked him like, hey, if we end up losing on this deal, will you able to help out? And he said, yeah, I got that much money in Tesla stock. Turns out this guy was just a broke ass realtor pretending to have money, and that is when I realized money talks, bullshit walks. So what did I do? I ended up having to pull a miracle out of my ass to cover the $150,000 loss. But best believe I lawyered the up and I went after his broke ass. We eventually settled, and I can't say the details of the settlement, but unfortunately the structure of that settlement was beyond disappointing, and it was the best we could do, as best my lawyer could do, but because he was so broke, we couldn't do anything more. So take it from me guys, get everything in writing. And with that example, that is a perfect segue to my next lesson. Lesson number 4, partner with the right people. So as you can see, even though you partner with people on some deals, you can always partner with the wrong people and you could end up getting screwed big time.
What's wrong with you, bro? What the heck? You tripping, bro. You tripping.
Make sure you do your due diligence on the people you are partnering with. Is this guy trustworthy? Do I actually know this person? Do they have experience? Do they have a good reputation? By doing some basic search, asking a few people who knows this person, you can save yourself from a lot of pain with partnering with someone who's shitty. Partnering with the right person can also mean partnering with someone who's best fit for this certain project. For example, maybe you have a good deal and it's in a certain area that you aren't familiar with. If it's a good deal, you might want to take it on, but you also want to be sure you minimize your risk. So you could partner with someone who is an expert in this area and knows it very well. Another example is you could also do a deal, or you could have a deal that's like, you know, a luxury flip. So maybe you want to partner with someone who has experience and has done luxury projects before. By doing that, you know, you're partnering with someone who has experience and knows how to choose the right luxury finishes to make sure that this luxury property is done correctly. An example with that would be like my third project. You know, it was my biggest flip so far at that time. It was the nice Hawaii Kai one that was on the water. It was an amazing area, beautiful home. And margins were insanely good. Like at that time I was looking at about $700,000 in profit, like life-changing money. It's crazy. However, I made a lot of mistakes. The first one being thinking I could do this alone, with it only being my third project. I made mistakes where I chose the wrong finishes. I went super basic. I didn't, make the project look wow. I didn't make it pop. When you're selling a project for over 2 million here in Hawaii, you need to make it pop. And I also made bad decisions on what to do when the market corrected and the interest rates went up, and deciding what to price it as well. Long story short, it took me 14 months to sell that project, and I only made $50,000. Yes, I am still extremely grateful that I made out with like a good amount of profit, but had I partnered with someone who's experienced and knew exactly how to make this luxury pop, I probably would have sold it way faster, way more, have less drama, less heartache, and I wouldn't have fumbled $650,000 in profit. So again, if you partner with the right people, you won't be like me and you won't fumble life-changing money. All right, lesson number 5 is risk management. This is a huge one. When you're flipping houses, there are so many moving parts. You've got the acquisition of the deal. You've got the financing of the deal with hard money. You've got to raise private money. And then when you acquire the property, you've got to manage the project with contractors. Make sure work is getting done on time and getting done the right way. And then finally, when the selling process starts, you need to make sure you close as soon as possible.
Let's go close this deal.
When you've got so many moving parts, with so much money involved, especially other people's money, you've got to make sure you've got great risk management. You got to make sure you're choosing the right deals, make sure you're running your numbers correctly, and you got to do so much more. If it's just you running the show, don't try to be like me and try to buy 4 to 5 deals at one time. You don't look cool, you look stupid, especially if you're new. And I'm not talking to anyone directly, I'm literally just talking to my past self. If you're taking on multiple flips at one time, you've got to analyze all the risk. Can you do multiple at one time? Do you actually have the funds to cover unexpected expenses that pop up? Do you have all the funds for all of them at the same time? If so, what is your limit? For me, I went through so much hell dealing with all of this at one time. I thought, you know what, let's do it. It's gonna help me grow. I'm gonna be an awesome investor. Well, guess what? Yeah, it helped me grow for sure, but at what cost? My mental health, my sanity. For me today, I would say a good, comfortable amount of deals that I could handle at one time would probably be like 2 to 3 projects at the same time. And that's probably it. Could I scale and do more? Probably, but I choose not to. I just want to take it slow, taking my time, because really it's a marathon, it's not a race. You got to stop swinging for home runs and just go for the consistent base hits. At least that's what I tell myself, and that's what I advise as well. And that brings me to the next lesson, which is move correctly, not quickly. This also ties into risk management, but one thing I realized looking back was that I was way too focused on growing my flipping business way too fast, way too early. I was young and naive and I had an ego, and I honestly had a chip on my shoulder because I wanted to prove so badly to myself and all the other investors here that I was a somebody. So I thought, let me take on all these projects all at the same time. I'm gonna make so much money so quickly. I'm gonna look so cool, and I'm gonna show everyone that I'm the man. No. This was honestly so foolish of me, and I'm so lucky that most of those projects made some profit or broke even, and more of them weren't losing money. Thank God.
Oh, thank God.
Back then, I thought more deals meant more profit for me, but really it just meant more deals and more problems. Nowadays, I take my time, I look for deals every day, and if it doesn't fit my buy box criteria, then I'm passing on the deal. I'm not gonna take on deals for the sake of saying that I'm taking on deals. I'm only taking on deals if I know for sure that it is a great deal, that it is a profitable deal, and most especially if I know it's a safe deal. And if it means waiting a few months until something comes up, then so be it, Because again, I'm moving correctly, not quickly. And again, I want to emphasize this. I am going for consistent base hits and I'm not swinging for home runs. One thing I like to tell people is that if the deal is not a hell yes, then it is a hell no. All right, lesson number 7 is stick to your favorite areas. Before, I try to do deals anywhere and everywhere. I thought it doesn't matter where it is as long as the numbers look good. Well, guess what? The numbers could look good when you buy it, but they can always turn ugly later down the road. When that happens, you got to know that area and see, okay, is there any way I could sell it right now? One good way to know for sure is if you know the area very well. Some of my flips before were in areas that I wasn't too familiar with, and that left me stressing and guessing. If you're asking yourself, this area should be able to sell fast, right? Then you do not know that area very well. For me, I like to keep things simple. I have my selected areas on Oahu that I know very well, like the back of my hand, and I will pounce on a deal if the numbers look good and they're in this area. These areas, if you're curious, is Ewa Beach, Makakilo, Kapolei, Waipahu. And the reason because of that is I grew up in Ewa Beach, so I know that city and the neighboring cities extremely well. I will say though, I still look for deals in other areas. Why? Because there's opportunity to make money with deals in other areas. And that leads me to my next lesson. Lesson number 8 is buy what you like, wholesale what you don't like. This was such a simple yet eye-opening lesson once it struck me. Whenever I saw a deal in places outside of my buy box, I thought, I don't wanna let it go. I can make so much money off of it, but at the same time, it's still a risk and I don't wanna take on that risk. So I thought there has got to be a way where I'm able to monetize this opportunity and deal without taking on the risk. Well, hello, it's called wholesaling. If you find a deal that has big margin, you know the numbers work, but maybe you don't like it for some reason, like maybe the rehab's too big, or maybe the price point is way too high out of your league, or maybe it's an area that you're not familiar with. Before, the old me would try to take it on and be some kind of hot shot and just go for it. Now I would get it under contract, find other investors who are able to take on these deals and just assign it to them and make an assignment fee. For me, my logic now is if I could make $50,000 on a wholesale right now with zero risk versus maybe making $120,000 in profit 6 to 8 months later, but it's in a place that I'm not familiar with. I gotta go through raising money, managing the project, selling the project, and hope that it sells at my expected ARV. Bro, I'm going with the 50K wholesale right now, all day, every day. Because again, you have zero risk when you're wholesaling. And then after that, if I do that 50K wholesale, I'm gonna take that money, keep it to myself, keep me in the game and I can still keep playing and move on to a deal that I actually love. Essentially, I'm passing on a good deal to go for an amazing deal. Okay, lesson number 9 is never stop looking for deals. So I'll be real with you guys. In November of 2023, I sold the last big project that I had. And unfortunately, it was a huge multiple 6-figure loss. To be completely honest, I'm still dealing with that loss financially today. I know I'm gonna recover and I will recover soon, this year. However, for now, I will hold off on telling that story, but I will talk about it in a future video. But anyway, after that loss, man, it sucked a lot. I was so stressed and depressed, and I lost all confidence in myself as a person, as an investor, and as a businessman. I felt like a little bitch, and this brought me to my knees. I went through so much shit internally, and to be honest, even though I'm in a much better place in my head today, it still sucks talking about it and it still hurts today. So because I was so scarred from that, I said, you know what, flipping sucks, I quit.
I quit.
You quit.
I told myself I'm not gonna flip houses anymore. That's not for me. I'm just gonna stick to being a realtor. So all of 2024 last year, I stopped looking for deals completely, and man, it sucked because 2024 was such a slow year for me as a realtor, and I was just barely scraping by, just trying to stay afloat and pay for my mortgage and expenses. Finally, towards the end of 2024, I summed up the courage to start flipping again. I thought, you know what? It's not flipping that was the problem, it was the mistakes I made. So the solution to that was that I just needed to get better at flipping houses. And so I applied all of the lessons that I've learned that I'm sharing with you in this video right now, and I applied it, and guess what? I got back to work. Since then, I've flipped 3 houses and I made over $130,000 in profit. And on top of that, I'm working with a lot of investors. I'm getting so many deals as an agent and investor because of it. And everyone here in the investor community knows I'm looking for deals. And honestly, it feels good to know that I'm back in the game and that other investors too are also rooting for me as well. All I had to do was not give up and just keep looking for deals. Had I not stopped looking for deals, I probably could have had a killer 2024. But thankfully, at the end of that year, I started getting my confidence back and I ended the year with a bang. And now, 2025, this year, is off to an extremely hot start. All right, finally, the last lesson, lesson 10, is never stop learning. In my first 6 to 7 years in real estate, I was just a real estate agent. In that industry, I learned that there's always something new happening every single day in this business. The same goes for real estate investing. In fact, I would even go as far as say that real estate investing is 10 times as wilder and more spontaneous, and that you always need to be learning, you need to keep on your toes, adapting, preparing, and staying on top of the market and trends. Every day is a new day that can bring so many new opportunities. However, there are some situations that won't seem like an opportunity to most, but will only be recognized as an opportunity to those who are educated and prepared. There's a saying goes that talent hits a target no one else can hit, but genius hits a target that no one else can see. So if you never stop learning the game, eventually you'll learn about different ways to identify a deal. And it's in those opportunities that can provide someone with lots of profit and who knows, maybe some life-changing money as well. But again, you have to be prepared when opportunity arises. If you can do that, you can do anything. And there you have it, guys. That was basically 4 years of real estate investing lessons all bunched into this one YouTube video. Damn, now that I think about it, like it's been 4 years, but it freaking felt like 10 or even 15, you know? A lot of pain, a lot of suffering, but a lot of learning. I hope that you learned from this video and that you won't make the same mistakes that I did, because they definitely, again, caused me a lot of pain and suffering. You know, take all of these, apply it to you with your investing journey, and I hope you make a lot of money and it can change your life. So yeah, see you guys again on the next video, and thank you for watching.